Hey there, and welcome to another trip report. Today I'll be flying Air Canada Express from Toronto to Montreal on board their Embraer 175 in business class. Throughout 2022, on the Toronto Pearson to Montreal route, Air Canada Express has been operating one flight a day in each direction, with a 12:30 a.m. departure from Toronto and a 5:15 a.m. return flight from Montreal, while Air Canada Mainline handles the rest of the day's flights. My flight today is an 8:30 a.m. departure, which isn't typically a time that the Express division would handle, but was a great opportunity for me to try this aircraft without having to fly in the middle of the night. It's just after 7 a.m. now as I'm arriving at Pearson Airport Terminal 1, which should give me just enough time to check in and drop my bags, and then head through security. Taking a look at the check-in information board, Air Canada Domestic check-in is at aisles 2 and 3, while Air Canada Business Class check-in is at aisle 1. The check-in at aisle 1 is open to travelers flying in business class, signature class, premium economy, premium rouge, or on a latitude economy fare, or to those who hold Aeroplan 50K status or higher. In this area, there's a separate line for Aeroplan Super Elite members, and everyone else is grouped into the other main line. It's very quiet in aisle 1 this morning, and I was able to see an agent within 2 minutes. When I arrived at the counter, they asked for my government-issued photo ID and proof of vaccination against COVID-19. With a business class ticket, you receive 2 complimentary checked bags, each weighing 32 kilograms or 70 pounds. Checked baggage also receives a Star Alliance priority sticker for expedited handling. After dropping my bags, I'm off to the domestic security screening checkpoint. From the priority check-in at aisle 1, you can conveniently access the priority security line, which I have access to on a business class ticket. You do have to backtrack a little to get to the entrance of the line, but it still saves you quite a bit of time waiting in line. 10 minutes from entry to exit of security, and it's now 7:25 a.m. With another 40 minutes until my flight boards, on a business class ticket I have the option of visiting either the Air Canada Domestic Maple Leaf Lounge or the Air Canada Cafe across from gate D20. Since I don't have too much time today, I'm planning to head over to the cafe. The Air Canada Cafe is Air Canada's new grab-and-go offering, with baristas serving up hot or cold drinks of your choice and lots of grab-and-go snacks available. It's accessible only to those traveling in signature class, business class, or premium rouge, or to those holding Aeroplan 50K status or higher, or Star Alliance Gold status. After scanning my boarding pass at the automatic turnstile, I'm inside and ready to explore. The feeling in here very much mimics the Starbucks that's located just outside the entrance, with lots of dark color themes, wood finishings, and thoughtful accent lighting. Personally, I like Starbucks, and I really like this. On one wall there's a coffee bar with baristas, and on the opposite wall we have grab-and-go snacks and drinks. At the entrance where I'm standing, there's a small departures board for helping keep track of your flight, and just past that we have a small customer service desk. Looking at the snacks, it's still breakfast time, so in the refrigerated section we have yogurt cups, yogurt parfait, fresh fruit cups, and overnight oats, but also different salads and cold wraps. There are also water bottles and cans of pop, juice, or flavored sparkling water. Moving past the fridges, on the counter along the back wall, there are Nutri-Grain bars and bags of chips. There are also self-serve coffee and tea machines, but the real fun starts at the barista counter. Heading over there next, there's a display cabinet with different pastries where the selection on offer differs each day. Above that, we have some fresh fruit, and behind the counter, a range of different machines. Obviously, being a coffee-oriented space, we have coffee and espresso machines like your neighborhood Starbucks, but there are also a couple other interesting pieces of equipment. Most notably, an orange juicer for making, you guessed it, fresh orange juice, and a granita machine mixing up coffee ice cream. Taking a look at the menu on the counter, there are lots of fun drinks to try. Plenty of caffeinated offerings, but also mocktails, teas, and fresh juices. I tried the fresh orange juice as well as a neve sulla lava, which involves rich Italian hot chocolate layered with creme espresso from the granita machine and topped with whipped cream and chocolate flakes. What better way to start the morning? In terms of seating, there's lots of high table seating with power outlets in the corner of the cafe by the windows, and also some high seating along the bar. There are also some tables and chairs in the interior space as well. Overall, it's a small but beautifully designed space, serving up some interesting and more artisanal items than the Air Canada Maple Leaf lounges. Leaving the cafe and heading over towards my gate, my flight will be departing from gate D45 today, which is the furthest possible domestic gate from the Air Canada cafe, but even then, it's only a 5-minute walk down to the end of the domestic pier. Down here, there are several restaurants and fast food places, shops, another Starbucks, and of course, a Tim Hortons. This part of the terminal is nice and open with high ceilings and big windows, but with 9 gates around the perimeter that are often used for high-density flights, it can get very busy. Over at my gate for today, boarding is due to get underway in 10 minutes, and most of the rows of seating are already packed. The adjacent gates D38 and D44 both have flights departing to the East Coast that are boarding just minutes before mine. 8:05 a.m. now, which is when boarding was due to get underway, and as the gate agent has very astutely noted, we don't yet have an aircraft. Another 20 minutes later, the gate area has cleared out a bit as the other 2 flights nearby have boarded, but we still don't have a plane. Finally, at our scheduled departure time of 8:30 a.m., our aircraft appeared after being towed in from a remote parking stand where it had been stored overnight. The reason for the delay, they couldn't find a tractor to bring the plane over. This 12-year-old Embraer 175 began flying for Air Canada Express in December 2015, after flying for Trip Airlines in Brazil from 2010 to 2014, and then for Azul Airlines from 2014 to 2015 after Trip merged into Azul. This aircraft was then acquired by Sky Regional Airlines in 2015, operating on behalf of Air Canada Express up until Sky Regional ceased operations in March 2021, at which point the aircraft was acquired by Jazz Aviation, where it continues to operate for Air Canada Express. Air Canada Express has a fleet of 25 Embraer 175 aircraft, which they mostly use on their short-haul routes from Toronto and Montreal to New York, Boston, Chicago, and others. It's 9 a.m. now, and boarding has still yet to begin. Air Canada boards their aircraft by zone number, with Zone 1 for business class and Aeroplan Super Elites, Zone 2 for all other Aeroplan Elite status members, and Zones 3 and up for economy passengers without status. Boarding for Zone 1 finally got underway at 9:10 a.m., 65 minutes after the scheduled start time. Stepping on board the aircraft and turning to the right, we find ourselves in the 4-row business class cabin. I'm booked in seat 3F for this flight, which is a window seat on the right side of the aircraft. The business class cabin on this aircraft consists of 12 seats in a 1-2 seating configuration. While I would have much rather had one of these single seats on the left side of the aircraft for this flight since I was traveling alone, unfortunately they were all taken when I went to select my seat. The economy cabin in the back, on the other hand, consists of 64 seats in a 2-2 configuration, with the first 12 seats at the front designated as preferred seats. These cabins have not been updated recently and still use the old-style seats, similar to those found on Air Canada's A320 fleet. Settling into my seat, each seat in the business cabin is equipped with a personal seatback entertainment screen, which we'll tour shortly. The screen is tilt adjustable to allow for different viewing angles, and there's a USB 3.0 port to the left of the screen for charging your devices. Lower down on the seatback below the entertainment screen, there's a pocket for storing the provided reading materials and any other items you wish to put here. There don't seem to be any other nifty storage spaces around this seat for putting things like your laptop or a book, so one large seatback pocket like you'd have in economy class is the best we've got. Taking a look at what's provided in the pocket, we have the safety information card for the Embraer 175 and a couple air sickness bags. In terms of legroom in the seat, you definitely get a lot more legroom in these seats than back in economy, with an extra 7 inches of space, and the seats are also 2 inches wider. At 5'10", I have tons of room to stretch out, even with my backpack stowed under the seat in front. For the aisle seat adjacent to me, however, the leg of the seat in front does seem to get in the way a bit, so the window seat is definitely preferred as I have no obstructions at all. Talking a bit more about the baggage storage in the cabin, my fairly large backpack fit quite easily under the seat. There are also overhead bins available, but they are not very large, especially the bins on the left side of the aircraft in the business cabin above the single seats. Any large carry-ons would only fit in the bins on the right side. Taking a look at the armrest between my seat and the adjacent seat, it's very wide, so there shouldn't be any fighting for elbow space. But unfortunately, there isn't any dedicated space to place a beverage, as you might find in business class seats on other aircraft. On the inside of the armrest is a headphone port for connecting to the entertainment system audio, and on the front face of the armrest are 2 AC power outlets, one for each seat. In economy class, on the other hand, there's a 1 power outlet for every 2 seats. Taking a look at the panel above the seat, we have personal reading lights, personal adjustable air conditioning vents, and an attendant call button for the row. Prior to pushback from the gate, the flight attendant handed out complimentary earbuds to each business class passenger, packaged in sustainable paper packets. She also handed out water bottles and Clean Care Plus kits. Air Canada distributes these kits to all passengers on all of their flights as a part of their commitment to passenger safety during the pandemic. In these kits, we have some individual packets of hand sanitizer, some disinfecting hand wipes, and a multi-layer disposable face mask. Taking a look at the CPAC entertainment screen next, these aircraft are equipped with the old-style Thales entertainment system, which are the same as those still found on Air Canada's A320 series aircraft, and are very outdated compared with some of the newer screens on the rest of Air Canada's fleet. The screen itself is quite small, and the graphics are nothing terribly advanced. Getting into the system, it is incredibly slow to respond and requires multiple taps to get the right selection. For reference on the response time, these clips are sped up to 3 times the original speed. In terms of content, the system is loaded with on-demand movies, TV shows, and music. Content within each section is grouped by genre or other themes, but it's generally very slow to navigate, and viewing all the options involves a lot of clicking and waiting. At the end of the day, as I've said in my previous reviews from onboard Air Canada's Airbus A321, the system overall is usable, but requires a fair bit of patience. There's also an About Us section for some details about Air Canada, and a kids section with a limited selection of movies and TV shows targeted to kids. After a painful process of navigating through the different system features and waiting for it to respond, we're finally on to the in-flight maps, which are identical to those found on Air Canada's A320 fleet, and as to be expected, they're nothing terribly special. You have the essentials like cycling zoom views of the maps and the flight info section, which are pretty standard stuff. In terms of control options, from the settings menu you can control the display brightness and system volume, as well as turn off the screen. If you'd rather not deal with the entertainment system, and personally I wouldn't blame you, there is Wi-Fi available on board this aircraft as well, though it is a paid service. Now that we've completed most of the seat tour, let's take a look at the view out the window from this seat. From 3F, we get a great view ahead of the right engine and wing. It's 9:42 a.m. now, the main cabin door is closed, and we're finally ready to go.
Flight attendant onto this flight to Montreal. Your crew today is pleased to be of service in English and in French, and for your comfort.
Right then, or under the seat in front of you.
Veuillez ranger vos bagages dans le coffre supérieur ou sous le siège devant vous.
The safety demonstration is underway, and we're pushing back from the gate 1 hour and 15 minutes behind schedule.
Pour l'ajuster autour de vos hanches. Pour la détacher, soulevez l'aile, ton bras du panneau au-dessus de vous. Restez assis. Retirez le masque du dispositif de retenue en plastique et tirez le masque vers vous.
Following the safety demonstration as we're beginning our taxi over to runway 24 left for takeoff, the flight attendant came through asking whether each business class passenger would like to have breakfast on board and what they'd like to drink after takeoff. After a speedy departure to the west, we're making a long left turn to begin our track towards Montreal. I have to say that for such a small aircraft, the windows on these Embraer 175s are actually very large, letting in tons of natural light and offering great views of what's below. They're also equipped with standard pull-down window shades for when it's a little too bright outside. As mentioned during our seat tour on the ground, the armrest on my left, separating my seat from the adjacent seat, is quite large. The armrest on the right, adjacent to the window, is also quite wide and well padded, and it also houses the tray table for my seat. The tray table folds out for use and can be used in either a half or full configuration. It also slides inwards and outwards so you can adjust how close it is to you. The table is much more stable in the full configuration when extended outwards as far as possible, as there's a support on the left armrest which helps stabilize it in this position. Since this is a very short flight with a total airtime of just under 1 hour, breakfast was served quite quickly within 20 minutes of leaving the ground. On the Toronto to Montreal route, there's only one breakfast option, so Air Canada is really banking on people liking omelets. Although there isn't much of a choice, I am really impressed by the fact that they have any hot meal offering on such a short flight. The breakfast this morning is the classic parsley omelette served with roasted red skin potatoes and chicken sausage, along with red pepper relish and cottage cheese. The tray was served with a bowl of fresh fruit, butter and jam, a pot of yogurt, and a salt and pepper packet. I presume the butter and jam were provided for the imaginary bread roll on the plate in the bottom left corner of my tray. The orange juice I ordered prior to takeoff was also provided with the breakfast tray. Real metal cutlery and a cloth napkin were provided as well. Overall, the omelette was very tasty and pairs well with the relish and cottage cheese, helping to make it a bit more exciting. The fruit provided, which consisted of oranges, grapefruit, kiwis, and strawberries, were all fresh and tasty as well. 13 minutes after serving it, breakfast was cleared away, and we're just under 30 minutes away from landing in Montreal. As the trays were cleared, the flight attendant offered yet another beverage service, so I kept the orange juice flowing.
Doivent maintenant être rangés et s'il faut évacuer l'avion, veuillez laisser vos bagages derrière vous.
15 minutes to go until landing, my glass has been cleared away, and it's time to stow my tray table. After a very hard touchdown on runway 24 right at Montreal's Trudeau Airport, we're now taxiing over to the domestic section of the airport terminal, 1.5 hours behind schedule.
See you again soon. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Vol Air 700 à destination de Port-du-Midi. À la porte.
Within 3 minutes of arriving in baggage claim, my checked luggage with its priority sticker has appeared and I'm ready to head home. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this trip report. Now for some comments on the experience. The business class cabin on these Embraer 175s is comfortable and does the trick for the short haul routes in the US Northeast that they're typically deployed on. This product is certainly outdated and pales in comparison to the business product on the newer Airbus A220 and Boeing 737 MAX, which have far better entertainment systems and functional in-seat storage. That being said, these aircraft are a commuter workhorse, and for the business traveler heading to New York or Chicago for those Monday morning meetings, Air Canada's business product with a full hot meal and comfortable seat with space to work or stretch out is all they really need.